Hello,
Hello there.
how y'all doing?
Welcome back to our Back to Eden Urban Homestead.
Yep, we are definitely a homestead.
And today we're talking about ain't nothing wrong with a little spring in the
Bring
winter.
it.
In the winter.
How y'all doing? Alrighty. Yep, we are
I hear
definitely
the
a
sound over
homestead.
here.
Oh,
So,
that is. Hold on, let me.
tech guy, tech guy, tech
All
guy.
right. Okay, got the technical issue out of the way.
Okay, so today we're bringing back to you a little bit of spring in the winter, and we
Mm-hmm.
want to share with you some things that we're doing. We're taking out the old and we're bringing in the new.
Yep.
And the way we're doing that is just working with what we have. We have some footage from our garden, and we have the soil man is here, and he's going to tell you. I have some issues with little creatures. I was talking about those little slugs,
Mm-hmm.
and a few of the other ones are aphids right now, often on little infestations. And the soil man is going to tell you what he does to
Okay,
get rid of those.
we use coffee grounds and sand. My wife mixes it up together, and she disperses it and put it on the leaves and on the ground. And this actually deters the slugs.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
it,
They
it
can't move over anything
it's
that's
gravelly.
yeah,
Yeah, that slows them down.
yeah.
My other option is the lethal method. Well, it's less torturous. Use saline solution,
They melt.
and they melt.
But either way, it gets the job done.
It does get the job done.
Yeah, and it's
We need our
tremendous.
food.
Yeah, we need our food.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we had some people asking us all the time when we give tours. They were like saying, "What do you do with all these vegetables? And
Hmm.
what are you doing with all of that?" It's just you guys. You know what? We use these vegetables, we use these herbs daily, not just sometimes, but daily. I'm out in the garden at least 3 or 4 times a day. I mean, I'm getting green onions, I'm getting kale, I'm getting parsley. I might get some lemongrass. It depends on if I'm doing a stir fry. So we use them basically for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and anything in between. Um, what it's all about is thriving in the wintertime. And as you can see, our gardens, we're thriving. We are thriving in the winter with foods, and we're enjoying our foods. I cook a lot, from soups to stir fries to all of my herbal juices. I don't have to worry about if it's going to be fresh or not. I can go out there and just pick, anything I want, and I use my Nama juicer, and then I'm putting in my juice combinations every day. Is something different. I don't use a recipe because there's all types of antioxidants, minerals. You're going to get some of everything. So you're getting a great variety to what you're normally going to just get in the store.
Right.
So I love it. You're building your body,
Hmm.
and you're building a stronger immunity because we all know that this is the time of the year for flus and colds and covids and whatever else they want to the powers to be put out there in the sky. But either way, even if you get sick, you want to be able to rebound quickly, and that's one of the ways. And then we were talking about plant decisions in January. Plant decisions are always ongoing with us. We have these conversations like you wouldn't believe. Always what we're going to plant, what we're not going to plant,
Right.
what was a flawed, what worked, and what
Hmm.
we had to leave behind. But this is a good time right now for cold weather crops, cool season crops: broccoli, kale, cauliflower, Swiss chard peas, lettuce,
Yep.
onions, garlic. Right now, we're going to be planting some garlic in the next few days. More spinach, and we've started some of these in little different planter boxes already. So this is the time, as my husband was saying. He didn't even say this is the time. He was saying last month.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, usually some of the articles would say, start in December
Mhm.
or November, especially when it comes to tree plantings. Anything you plant that's going to take time rooting, growing roots under the soil, would be better to start in November. And everybody's region is different.
Yes.
Some people in November can't plant anything because the ground is like concrete.
Yeah.
So, but here in our region of the country,
Zone 9.
Zone 9A, our ground is terrible. It has caliche in it. So, but still, if you prep that hole with good organic soil, worm
That's
compost
for your trees.
for
Yeah.
your trees,
Yeah.
and you can also, yeah, for your trees, and also using putting worms in the hole. Uh, we make a Jadam liquid fertilizer that Young Sung Chow got from his father. You can look that up online also. I may try to provide the link for you. So we use that method here in our garden. No chemicals are used on our property at all. So
Right.
it's all organic.
Also, you want to be able to, right now is a good time to start, if you haven't already, go to the seed companies, start getting your seed catalogs for the new year. The new year they're out, and they give them out for free. But at the same time, these seeds are very important if you're getting non-GMOs, good seeds that are produced. We got seeds, there's seeds from all over. We were on some trips. We went to South Africa. I'm telling you to make sure that you get things that are non-GMO. Heirlooms are wonderful as well. And just try different, being in different places around the world, you realize, people are growing food. And so you try to get something that simulates your climate. And if it's not your climate, if you want to do a microclimate, but it's important. So we have lots of seeds. That was one of the things that we're planning out. We got lots of seeds for our garden. I was blessed from my daughter getting some other things that I needed for my garden, for my spring garden, gloves and things like that. And one of the seats that you sit in for gardening, if you're gardening, like we have tall garden boxes, is very healthy and very I would say less stressful and strenuous if you have back problems. My husband has back problems, and I even have a little bit of back problems. So sometimes sitting in like some type of a chair modified, you want to get these things now so you won't be discouraged. Your gardening gloves, you want to have all of your gear in place so you're not with excuse on I can't do that. You're not with an excuse that is too much. This is the time to get those things worked out and have them ready to go and to make plans for your garden in the coming seasons.
Yeah.
Even with my husband, he has a lot of work he was saying on what he needed to do. All of his carpentry things that needs to be done.
Yes.
Cold frames.
Yes.
Or either not cold frames or you were saying your trellises where he needed them to go.
Right.
Right now the trees don't have a lot of leaves, but it's a good time that you can get to areas that you can't normally get to.
Right.
Because there's so much foliage and you can get there and put in the trellises and tie things back.
And if you need to do any pruning of your trees, this is the time to prune your trees.
Right, lighting.
Right. You don't let the sap rise. It's too late then.
Yeah.
So if you're pruning or you're grafting, November through January, it's a good time to graft before the sap starts rising in the trees. So that way that the graft will take, and also that your pruning also accelerates the growth of the trees. And pruning for any plant is good for that plant to develop a stronger plant and more healthier plant.
And don't forget your irrigation. If you didn't have irrigation the year before, and that's fine. But this year, shame on you if you're saying, we know Las Vegas. Las Vegas is no joke. And the days that I don't care if it's drip irrigation, whatever you're trying to do when it comes to watering and saving your plants.
It's a must.
Do it now. Don't wait till spring because spring will be too late. So if you need to put a drip line in or something, is a good chance. Get a hold of whoever you're going to use or yourself and get busy doing that. Also, we were looking over our little records from what we use for fertilizers
Right.
and sprays and what really worked and what didn't. Because sometimes you do things even if it's homemade and if it's not successful with the predators that you have, it's no good. So sometimes you need to make adjustments in that
Exactly.
and say,
Yeah.
what, this didn't work last year. Let's try. We use what, neem?
We use neem.
Neem has been very good.
But there's also another natural way you can go other than neem. You can either go to your nursery, and you can grow these yourself. Where you grow mint, oregano, and you would take a bunch of that and put it in a pot of water and boil it until the water starts turning. That takes all the oil from the leaves, and then you put that in a spray bottle, and then you go ahead and start your insect pest control. It works really well, and I would suggest that anything natural you can use in your garden to stimulate not only the growth and the health of your garden, but also to be able to control pests. Now, all plants have a mechanism. They either deter insects to protect them, or they either draw certain insects in to protect them. They have defensive or offensive measures. I don't know if any of you ever seen that movie, The Happening. Well, you might have thought that was you thought that was a fantasy film, but actually it's based in reality. All plants give away defensive and offensive measures to attract insects to them so that they'll be more healthier.
Yeah.
Or if the plant's dying, the insects come to finish them off.
I got a good story about the insects, and he's on it this year. But for 3 years, we struggled with our ashwagandha. It's huge. And, people are seasonal with ashwagandha. They grow it for the roots. I grow it for the berries as well as for the leaves, too. There's lots of uses for that. So we have this huge ashwagandha tree next to our Concord grapes.
Right.
And they both, the last 3 years, we've been
Fig tree, Black Mission fig tree.
the black mission fig is
Right.
doing fine, but we've
Right.
been plagued the last 3 years with this weird beetle that comes out on the ashwagandha. And I saw from its origins where it came from, but it's not from here. But now I guess it's found its way to Las Vegas and knows that, hey, over there in the back to Eden Garden, they have ashwagandha. So when they take it over, it's hideous because there's so many of them, you don't even want to touch it. The same thing with our Concord grapes, the grape flies that lay, they're somewhere in the soil. So we have to now be right now on the issue
Right.
to start treating. You can't wait till spring to treat because you know what? They laid their
It's too
eggs.
late.
Their eggs are dormant right now, and they're waiting the time just to hatch. And soon as they hatch, they come out and they multiply. You're talking about billions of eggs. I don't care how many praying mantis you put in your garden.
It's not gonna do
They're
any good.
never going to be enough to take care of that issue. So you have to find natural ways. And this year, my husband's starting right now with his Jadam
Yes.
and his, I
The
don't know
wedding,
what
it's a damn wedding agent.
yeah, to start to treat. This is
Right.
natural, but this process will inhibit those little predators that's going to hatch out and ruin all of our hard work. So we have to start now. So be proactive, and I would say make sure. My best friend is my daughter got me a journal to keep a journal because you know what? To know what you did last year, to know what you need to do, what worked, what didn't work. But if you're journaling these things, that will prompt you also to remind you.
Right.
You know what? It's not time. It's January. We think of it's nothing to do.
Plenty to do.
It's everything to do.
Yes.
Because if you want to have that, there's no such thing as a stress-free garden. But if you want to have less stress, less predators, you need to get started now and healthier plants. You can't wait till spring. We've made the mistake years back.
Oh, well, hi, Kim.
Hi, Kim.
Yeah, thank you for showing up. She and I have been conversing about the garden
Yes.
activity, what we've been doing. So it's good to see you here online with us. We appreciate that, and I hope that the information that we're sharing with you will definitely continue to help you.
Yes. Yeah. I was saying that it's so good to have some help, and my husband is my helper when it comes to solving all this scientific stuff. I am a herbalist. I love my plants.
She's
but
scientific too.
Not in that way, but not in that way. I just want my plants to be successful.
Yeah.
And the thing is that to have successful plants, though, you do have to plan. You do have to have those things to make sure that your garden is going to be there when you want it. It's one thing to grow it, but then when you're ready to take all of those wonderful little herbs, I don't want them full of these little creatures that I'm screaming because I'm still very skittish when it comes to weird things, phenomenal. When there's too many too many little plants, too many little bugs crawling about, it kind of dampens my spirit of wanting to move on and create something. So there you have it. Make sure you start to use the process now. When everything looks dull and it's not moving, this is the activity because those little babies are growing. They're growing month to month. They're growing right now, and they're going to get there. And before you know it, while you're busy trying to think that you should be planning for the spring, you should be also using the pesticides that are natural to control your harvest so you'll have a good harvest.
Yes.
So for me, that's a biggie. That's my biggest one now because I have lots of herbs in place. The herbs do a wonderful job of keeping predators away too. So the other thing is that we do, what do you call that, gardening square foot?
Oh, square foot gardening.
Yeah, we do that.
What you can do if you have a planter box, which is actually better for your garden because you have more diversity in the areas that you can plant things to help plants, companion planting. So you just rope off a square foot, get some rope from Home Depot or one of your big box stores.
Maybe you can show them the garden bed too that has a square foot. Can you have any footage from that?
Let me see.
Yeah,
I
so
may.
we have footage. You can see, well, with the square foot that he does, and we've done all of our beds that way. The good thing about it is we then do companion planting. So there's no such thing as a row of just Swiss chard or collards because you know what? The bugs love that too. They love it. They say, hey, you just made this very easy for me. Thank you. So you have to make sure you're throwing in there all of your beautiful herbs that will just ward off things like sage. It's wonderful. I planted Jamaican guinea hen or either they call it anima. I may not pronounce it correctly in India, but I have guinea hen, and nothing likes the guinea hen, which It's like power to you. Nothing likes the guinea hen. I mean, there's no predator so far in there that's touching that. And even my Jamaican cherry, there's nothing. So when you find plants like this, be also there's different ones. The basil doesn't get attacked that often, but when you find plants, sage is really good. My white sage, nothing is touching that. You need to make sure you spread these things throughout your garden beds. As you can see, there's culminations of everything. There's basil, there's spicy mustards, and there's lemongrass in there. And we have some of the stuff we're overwintering in these garden towers right now. We're keeping it in there because we want to make sure that we're actually, trying to protect as much so we don't have a full start in March to trying to put out things, you know. And I see that Kim was asking where is the best place to get seeds.
I was going to say any online seed stores,
I would say not just any.
not any, but the
Fine.
reputable ones.
Yeah, find. I do go on Amazon a lot, but I search out like rare seeds companies. This one is called Rare Seeds.
Yes.
Rare Seeds. I try to source seeds from them, and I love to go on Etsy because you'll find a lot of gardeners just like ourselves and like you that will have their own seeds, and they'll show you pictures of them. You can get seeds, especially indigenous seeds if you're trying to get some rare things that we've gotten. I've gotten all of my plants like that from Etsy's. It's a good deal, and even you'll get a lot of feedback. Because you can talk to these people personal because they're growers, and they'll tell you a little bit of history. But I really like Etsy on that, and you'll get to know some of the different growers. But I use Etsy quite a bit.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And you do a good job at that.
Well, thank you.
And we get organic seeds, certified organic seeds, or heirloom seeds. Those are the
Yes.
three best seeds to get. And what you will notice, I'll say this because it brought up a little irritation for me. Last season, we had got some seeds, and this was supposed to be what do you call it? Sparse seeds.
Oh yeah.
They had 5 seeds in the packet. 5 seeds.
Yep.
So our advice to you is that when you get seeds or for organic vegetables, certified organic or heirloom seeds, let some of your plants go through their full life cycle. Don't pick the fruit off of them or anything. Just let them go through the full life cycle from life to death to regeneration. And there's a spiritual thing about that because you take a seed, it appears dead, so you got a principle of death. And then you put it in the soil, that's a burial. And then that seed then resurrects through the soil. So you got a principle of death, burial, resurrection. And when it fruits, that's the ascension. What does that remind you of? Oh, yes, our Savior.
Yes.
He did die.
Creator.
He was buried. He resurrected and he ascended. So everything in nature goes through this process. And that's why we understand our Garden of Eden. And that's the reason why it's so dear to us, because we see the spiritual connection that we have in gardening. It's not just putting plants in the ground. You actually understand how your Creator created life for you.
Right, right. And that's very important. These principles follow through in everything we do in life, to be honest. One thing we didn't mention, and I don't want to leave that out, is our trees.
Yes.
Planting the trees right now, the fruit trees, if you're going to plant, and if you happen to be in zone 9, this is still, it's not
9A.
9A
Yeah,
or B. It's still not too late to do planting trees, bushes, because right now everything is dormant in the dormant stage. So you don't want to be able to get your trees and transplants in the ground now because the root work is going to be going on. Not any type of with these plants right here that we have in the ground. We bought these plants, I believe, in maybe March.
March of last year.
March. We didn't. Our gardeners didn't put them in. Our landscapers didn't put them in the ground until what, October?
To October, yes.
And something that my husband had him to do is put these drains in. So these drains are like hugely important. These drains go down, and you can tell them about the drains and what they do.
Okay, by having these drains in the ground next to the root ball, it makes the solution, liquid solution
That you make.
In this case, we make Jadam liquid fertilizer. Again, they have been making fertilizer that's organic for gardeners, for farms for thousands of years. But in recent times, a procedure was done by Young Sung Chow that he got from his father. They always say Young Sung Chow, but he developed this. His father trained him how to use the damn liquid fertilizer. And what this is that you go to a forest near you and dig at the base of the tree, and you get the soil from that. And I forgot what that was called.
Jadam.
No, the soil from the tree, dead matter, compost, leaf mold.
Oh, the leaf mold. He's talking
Yes,
about the leaf mold that we
yeah,
collect.
leaf
Yes.
mold. Because
Okay.
I'm talking about Jadam, but I need to go
Yeah.
ahead and explain how we
Yeah.
make it.
Right.
And then you get the leaf mold and you bring it back because it's full of micronutrients. It's full of fungi that's necessary to drive,
Mycelium.
or mycelium to drive to make the Jadam liquid fertilizer. And then the other components come from your garden, dead vegetable leaves, as long as they're not infected with any type of bug infestation. You take those dying vegetables or fruits, and then you can go ahead and put them in a barrel, put them in some, and it could be a 5 gallon bucket, dechlorinated water.
You have a video on that.
I do have a
Yeah,
video on
so
that.
so make sure you look in the links because he has a whole video on the process.
Yes, I do.
How it works and when to do it. I love the video because I can never remember, but at the same time, it's good for me. Even though I'm not that type of a chemical person putting things together, but it doesn't seem like it's too hard when you look at it. But more than that, you get the ideal, the saying that they need to eat natural foods too.
Exactly.
That's what gets me. I'm like, wow, you mean to tell me we miss it because feeding your garden something that's not natural, you're not going to have a natural organic plant.
Well, the other thing is that I'll go ahead and finish explaining this. Is that so? You see the drain that's in the ground.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like a white tube with a grate on top of it. You pour your liquid fertilizer, organic again, and it's right next to the root ball of this tree. So that means that the liquid is going to immediately uptake into the roots.
And how many of those do you need?
And depending on the tree, I would put 2 on each side of a tree that you have in your garden. Have your landscaper come and dig around the root ball and place that in there. And then they're very easy to make. They're
You
just
might wanna do it
PVC.
yourself,
Oh, you
yeah.
might want to do it yourself. The
Yeah.
PVC and just get the grate. You can get these components at the big box store, Lowe's or Home Depot, and put it in the ground next to your root ball and then cover it back up. This way, when you pour in your solution, it goes right up to the trees. Granular products do not work. Don't let anybody tell you that because they don't. Bone meal, blood meal granules take months to even try to reach down through the tree system to be able to be available, and then it has to be broken down by the fungi in the soil to make it readily usable, so it uptakes in the roots to benefit the tree, to help your tree to produce. So it's always better to use liquid components to fertilize your trees, and this is what we've done.
So we're doing these methods right now, and the reason why is because, again, those are new trees. Secondly, we want them to have great root growth.
Yes.
And thirdly, by the time spring comes on, it's going to be too late for root growth. The process will, all the energy will be spent in going into producing leaves
Right.
and possibly fruit. So some of our fruiting trees that were there for years before, I don't know if we had pictures of that, the apricots, they have those same pipes. So hopefully we're trying to get a bounty because they're
This
getting
year.
the nutrients. This is the time, it's just like being pregnant. This is the time to make sure that the offspring that they produce is healthy,
Very good. Very good.
disease free. And so that's where his Jadam, all of the different types of Jadam that my husband uses, comes in so handy. From the one for the soil to keep the predators away.
Yes,
Then for the nutrition.
Right.
And all of those. So right now, applying all of that, we don't have to worry about the hot weather, burning it, or getting too much. Also, you're not trying to beat the odds. This is the time to use all of that. So it's very important. And then the other thing is to cover all of your tender plants right
Yes,
now. We have a couple of hoop houses. Well, 3. One has towers in it. The towers right now we're using the grow towers. We're going to be changing to green stalks just because we need bigger pockets this year. These towers that we have, they do have irrigation in them, and we were somewhat successful. But I think we're going to go with these green stalks because the pockets are bigger, and we don't have to do as much work now with these. As you see, that there are some little plastic, little terrarium type planters all around. That's where we have now microgreens, well, greens that will be planted out soon as we start clearing the beds out. So we're starting. We started this what, a month ago?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
and there's another. So we're going outdoors and indoors, and we'll bring it to you in another week or two. We'll bring you indoors to show you that we have an indoor grow as well. I don't like to do a lot of indoor grows because I don't like to harden off plants. So these plants, they won't need hardening off because they're in a space where they're cool, but at the same time there's no heat going in there, and they'll just acclimate as the days get longer, and we only have like 67 days before it's going to be daylight here in zone 9 at 7 p.m. So we
Right.
can't wait for that. So we're on a countdown. So these things, this is not too soon. And then I'll be spreading these around. So we'll have more than enough to go in the garden beds. We have our other containers that are not being covered. Some of them we have wood chips around, like our moringa trees and things like that. Our strawberry patch, the strawberry leaves are still green because they're mulch. We have a lot of wood chips and mulch around those. So we're still gardening with some protection and things that are not protected. We didn't protect our petais, the dragon fruits, and you can see those right behind me. And that's mullein. We didn't have to, well, that's not mullein, actually, that's kale, Lacentino kale, and some beets in there. And those okra stems that's in the back. The crazy thing about okra, and we're doing experiments, but believe it or not, my sister's garden as well. We cut the stalks back and they came back and they produced again. So cutting things to the ground, my husband loves to throw out things, and I'm like, stop. But
Oh, yeah.
he used to throw it away,
It's-
man. If it's not producing, he will throw it out. But we're learning not to do that. Even our peppers are 2 and 3 years old. But this one,
She
we
calls
have to watch
me
him.
the plant
He
murderer.
is. He is the murderer of plants.
Not really. It's
Yeah,
just if I
well,
see something brown, it ain't producing. If it's not doing what it's supposed to be in the time it has to, it's wasting my time.
yeah,
I'll pull it.
he has a short patience. It's like it's not doing anything. It's out. And I was like, but it wasn't supposed to. And by the time I explained to him, because he doesn't ask first, which would be nice, but he
I'm learning.
yanks. He yanks. He's learning. He's getting better, but he will yank something in a minute. So I'm on him like I said, give it a chance. And
She's a woman of last chances, second chances.
I'm a plant whisperer.
Yes, you're a plant
I'm
whisperer.
gonna take care of him.
She's
and
gonna bring that
baby
plant to
them.
life. If it's turned brown,
Yes.
she gonna bring it to life.
Yes.
Me, if it turned brown, it's out there.
I'm trying to extend their lives as we're trying to extend ours, and that's what we do. But be sure to be ready to cover anything you need to cover and to take care of that garden. I mean, it is wintertime, but there's so much to be done right now. So just kind of act like it's springtime. I just want to know if you enjoyed the show today, please be sure to like
Please.
and subscribe.
And subscribe.
Yes, so we can share more videos like this.
And ring the bell so that you receive more notifications of new content and also the content that we have available. We have 3 channels. R Back to Eden, that's R Back number 2, Eden Urban Homestead. And then our travel channel, Genesis 2, Revelations Epic Explorations. And our 3rd channel, which is my wife's and my daughter. She's a certified trained practicing herbalist, certified herbalist. So
Everything herbal.
and,
That's what we're going to be
so
talking
their
about.
channel is named Epicurean and an Herbalist.
Yeah.
So it's very informative and good to look at. Also, she's an accomplished writer and author of 7 children's books, and 2 of them are online. Adventures of Lo and the Gold. Lo goes to North America, and Lo goes to Africa, which we just came back from South Africa.
Yeah.
We had a great time. So you might want to go on our travel channel to see some of the live discussions that we were having about our travels to Africa.
Yes. And
And we're going back
Yes, we are. We're going to be
to
going
live
back.
there.
Yes. We'll probably be going back and forth, but right now we're definitely going to be going back. We have a lot of things to do, a lot of work to do.
We
And
do.
right now we're trying
A lot
to
of
work on.
planning.
Yes, we're working right now in this garden, in this place, because this is where we are right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we love it, and we hope that you can enjoy the sunshine even on a cloudy day.
I got sunshine on a cloudy day, and it's cold outside, even in the month of May. I guess you said, what can make me feel this way?
My
My garden, our garden.
See you next time.
Take care, guys.
Take care.